Alaska, you're in Mount Everest. There's dangerous animals all over the place. You got the smell of barbecue in half the park there from the flame tree. And you've got Pandora, where you become an avatar and you ride a banshee through Pandora, and just the entire setting with floating mountains and everything. You feel the machismo coursing through your body as you walk through Pandora. And I'm really surprised that wasn't a clean sweep, but you guys put up very good arguments for Epcot and Hollywood Studios as well. It's nice to see Hollywood Studios getting some love from the selections there. So we're going to leave the parks and we're going to go to a resort. But we're not going to go to any resort. We're going to go to what we think is the manliest resort. Now, what defines a manly resort? I'm not so sure. Everyone's got different opinions. So we're going to go to Brian first for his selection of the manliest resort.
The only one that can be considered to be the manliest resort is Wilderness Lodge. It's the only one. I mean, here you get to escape to the rustic majesty of America's great Northwest, inspired by the turn-of-the-century national park lodges. Wilderness Lodge celebrates American craftsmanship and honors the beauty of the untamed wilderness. I mean, what says manly more than untamed wilderness? You also get to soak in the splendor of the great outdoors, from the nature trails to the pine forest, to taking it all in on a rocking chair that overlooks the creek. Inside, you've got totem poles that were made by Native Americans who, they're some of the manliest men out there, let's be honest. I mean, they literally have to live off the land. And you just get to enjoy the rustic elegance of the hearth and the roaring fireplace. And it's just, that to me screams, I'm a man. So that's my choice for manliest resort.
Wow, and way to back it up, and I'm almost ashamed to say I totally forgot about that resort when I was thinking about the manliest resort. Never even crossed my mind once. Maybe I just had laser focus on my selection, but we're going to hold up on my selection. We're going to go to Rob, a man's man. Where are you going to lay your head, Rob?
But you know what, one that jumped out and you're like, you know what, this one could probably be considered one, and I'm just going to throw it out there, but it's definitely not the top one. You got to at least consider, even though we don't rank it very high, the All-Star Sports Resort, just because it's all sports and everything. So I would say that at least gets a mention, only because of the sports aspect of it. But no.
Yeah, okay, actually, you mentioned it. Move on.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I had the Wilderness Lodge as one of them that I had listed there, just because, like Brian said, out there. Since he did such a great job describing it, I'm going to move on to one I had I was tossing up between the two. Now, the other one I had was a contemporary. Just because that's something that manly, that's not a resort you see anywhere else. It's a manly design. We designed it so transportation can run through it. You had to design the rooms and you slid them in there. I mean, and it's all kind of almost stainless steel, almost kind of, it's got the manly motif. It definitely does not have the women's touch when you walk around around in there and everything. So that would be another one.
That's why I'll probably never get to stay there.
Yeah.
Concrete. Oh, yep. Yeah, concrete.
So yeah, between the Wilderness Lodge and the Contemporary, those are my two that I would say are the top manliest resorts on property.
That's pretty good. The Contemporary was my runner-up. You know, it's sleek looking, it's futuristic. The monorail goes right through the middle of it. You know, everything was assembled offsite and it was put together there. It's concrete. It's just, it's almost like cold in there. It's there's something about it. But my manliest resort, believe it or not, and I might catch some flack from this, is the Polynesian Village Resort. You've got the South Sea flair. You've got the long houses, you know, with Fiji and everything like that. You think warriors and outrigger canoes, and you've got the fire dancer, and you got the luau's. The theming is great. It's got Rob's Manly restaurant up there in Ohana. So a case can be made that the manliest resort on property is the Polynesian Village, but I certainly can't fault you guys for your picks because those were solid as well. Especially Brian, seeing as how I forgot the Wilderness Lodge was even there.
Well, the Poly would have been my choice if the Wilderness Lodge wasn't there. So you can take second place on that one.
Yeah, okay. I guess I kind of deserve it. So now we're going to head back into the parks, or not, maybe not into the parks, and we're going to talk about the manliest modes of transportation on property. I got into this. There was a lot more transportation there than I originally thought. So there's a lot of head scratching. Well, being a man, that's what we do. You know, we scratch our heads a lot because we're confused and perplexed. But we're going to ask Rob what his manliest mode of transportation is.
Mike, you hit it. I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, there's this one. Oh, there's this one. I mean, I came up with a long list of ones. I was trying to figure out which ones to do that. And I would say the runner-up that I gave was the Walt Disney Railroad. Just trains and the way it, and the way that Walt loved them. And again, there too, if we're talking about a manly man, they said Walt. But I actually went with monorail. And I just thought again there too, thinking not so much action and rough and buff as much as the science behind it. And again there, something that you don't see around just anywhere you walk. So the men behind it had to really think and come up with some ideas and figure out how to get it to run and be something that can actually be there and stuff like that. So the monorail was my choice.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. That crossed my mind as well. Brian, your manliest mode of transportation.
It crossed my mind as well, but didn't make the list. The Walt Disney World Railroad, the Frontierland Station. The mode of transportation is fantastic altogether, but Frontierland, man conquering the Wild West, just like the Native Americans, you don't get any more manly than that. I mean, those men tamed the American West. And you get to hear the prairie wind whisper sweet songs of the West as you chug from the frontier around the Magic Kingdom and back again. I mean, that's as manly as you can get at Walt Disney World, where you can just puff your chest out and say, I'm a man. I'm hopping on the railroad, and I'm going to take a ride through the West. You don't have to ride all the way around. You can get off in Fantasyland, let your kids off, and you just ride the rest of the way. But the Walt Disney World Railroad Frontierland train station is my manliest mode of transportation.
Excellent choice. That was actually my second runner-up in transportation. The stops are great. You just get that Western feel and you know, open air cars and everything like that. That's always good. My first runner-up was Rob's choice, the monorail. It's unique. I mean, where else can you go and ride a monorail other than, you know, the Orlando airport and maybe out in Vegas? It's sleek, it's fast, it's futuristic. I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to ride with the pilot sometimes. I got a chance to do that a couple times, got a chance to bring my kids up there. But my number one choice, and I dug really deep, is the Main Street USA fire engine.
Nice.
Ooh, good one.
I went deep there. I was a firefighter for 13 years. I always enjoyed riding in my engine one, whether we were in a parade, whether we were on our way to a call. There was just something about everything that went in there. So I met the Main Street Fire Chief my last trip down there in September. Excellent guy. Had a nice chat with him. But the Main Street Fire Engine, because, you know, it's a fire engine. I mean, what guy doesn't, you know, fire engine riding into danger with all the tools and equipment and hoses and the helmet and everything like that. So that was my number one choice for manliest transportation. So we're going to get off our transportation and we're going to see what we came up with for our manliest character experience. There were a lot of real good ones in here, and this one took me a long time to figure out here. So we're going to ask Brian, what's his manliest character experience?
There is only one option here. I mean, come on. The manliest character, you get to meet Gaston at his tavern. I mean, you can't get any more manly than Gaston. And, I mean, he's in his element, and he's got all of his adoring fans around, and it's just, he is the man's man until he turns into a villain. Which he's still a man's man at that point, but I mean, come on. Nowhere else are you going to meet a more manlier man in Walt Disney World than Gaston.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
Mic
Rob,
drop, walk away.
Do you agree?
No. I took it a whole different direction.
Oh boy, Alice in Wonderland.
Well, close. I took the Royal Banquet Hall at the Acker House. If you're gonna go eat, and why not have? You're a manly man, don't you want princesses spawning all over you and wanting to get pictures with you and coming up and talking to you and everything? So that's what I'd rather have. I'd rather have princesses all over me instead of Gaston, but that's just me personally.
I already have the princesses spawning all over me.
Oh boy. All right, no.
You can cut that. You can cut that part out.
Oh no, that's staying in. That's staying in. All right, that's a good one, Rob. And Gaston was my runner-up. Just the guy's totally self-absorbed. The interaction is fantastic. You can challenge him to a push-up contest. And plus, he's got that awesome fountain out in front of his tavern. But I kind of went sort of the way Rob went. The manliest character experience, I think, is meeting Lady Tremaine, Anastasia, and Drizella. You've got the attention of 3 very fancy, charming ladies, 2 of whom are still looking for a husband after being ditched by Prince Charming when he ran off with Cinderella. So the interaction is always good. The joking around is always good. So that was my number 1 manliest character experience.
Whoa, time out. I'll give it to Rob with getting the princesses, but you're settling for the 3 ugliest characters in Disney canon, all because they're desperate to find a husband. Come on, man. That's not manly. That's puny.
Sure.
That's puny.
They got money. That's good.
Okay.
And your odds are better, with 3. I mean, you've tripled your odds. So that's the way I'm looking at it from a man's point. I mean, I have no game to begin with, so I gotta.
Well, you're either gonna get a greedy one or you're gonna get a really angry one. So have fun with that.
Either way, I win.
Or one that killed her previous husband.
There you go. There you go.
Well, there's always that too. But it's hard to believe we're almost done with this list already. This thing is flying by. We're going to go to something that, again, there were way more choices than I originally thought, and this took some thinking and whittling down, and I actually changed my selection like 3 or 4 times. We're going to go with the manliest drink on property. I did not say this had to be alcoholic, so, I mean, everything's wide open here. Totally up to each of you fine gentlemen. Rob, manliest drink on property.
Well, I don't drink, but I still know that most manliest drinks usually are considered alcohol, so I was trying to think when I was hanging around with you guys, since you guys were drinking all the time, what did you guys have that really...
Whoa. All the time?
Make us sound like we're alcoholics.
Okay, I had 1 cocktail at Trader Sam's.
As we're both drinking.
It was the largest one they offered, but I had 1.
So, and that's the one I went with, is because of your response of how good it was. Also, it gets brought out in a Nautilus. I mean, what more could I... For me, thinking of everything, that's what I went with. I went with the Nautilus at Trader Sam's just because of your reaction to the drink itself, and also, like I said, bringing it out in a submarine, the Nautilus. I mean, hey, it's that's what I was. That's what I went with.
It looks good perched up on my shelf too.
There you go.
Very nice. Brian, manliest drink, and please tell me it's not like a 20-ounce Budweiser.
No, because they don't serve Budweiser at Walt Disney World. I am joining Rob at our new favorite place, Trader Sam's. Gonna say hi to our bartenders Robin and Adam, great guys over there. I am getting the Shrunken Zombie Head, and it's got Gosling's 151 Black Seal Rum, Appleton Estate Reserve Rum, Bacardi's 8-year rum, tropical juices, Flarinum, and cinnamon, served in a souvenir shrunken head for $19.50. I actually think I may get this on my next trip, and I don't drink liquor. But that, I want the cup. And I gotta drink the drink to get the cup. But that, I mean, heck, you can't be any more manly than a zombie head. I mean, we've got zombie apocalypse over here. I mean, why not drink out of a zombie head?
Yeah, it's good. And I almost stopped at Trader Sam's as well, too, but I went deep into the reaches for the manliest drink here. My runner-up was a stop at the Sake Bar in the back of the Mitsukoshi department store in Japan over in the World Showcase.